tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Yes! Hello, everyone, and welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV, your only and one spot for after-show entertainment. This is it. We are here talking about Black Sails, and I am your host, Ryan Hooks. Season 2, Episode 9, if you're counting. XVII, 17 on their Richter scale of excitement. You can get me at Ryan Hooks 92. To my left, Lauren Salaun.
Hey everybody, you can find me on Twitter at Lauren Salaun.
No double wave?
Oh, okay, fine.
There's the
Can't
double
let you down.
wave. Jamie S. Elias.
Hi guys, I'm Jamie. You can find me at Jamie S. Elias on Twitter or Instagram.
We've dubbed that your official name, just Jamie S. Elias. It's all
Jamie S.
one. It's
Elias.
one name.
Just one.
Jamie S.
That's all.
Elias.
The S stands for summer if it makes any difference. It's a real middle name, I promise.
It's almost spring. It's sort of summer. I
I
don't
know. We
It's
wish
fine.
it was summer.
It's just an S.
Damn
It's
it.
better as an initial
Dang
than it is as the name, I think. Guys, welcome to our episode 9. We are all excited through the roof here after what just happened on Black Sails.
Or furious.
Oh my
You
God.
little column A, little column B. There's a lot of energy and a lot of tension going on here. So I just want thoughts right off the bat.
I am
Lauren Salaun.
so upset about what happened. Mainly with Miranda. I know that tons of things happened in this episode, and lots were kind of cool, but Miranda was...
Mainly with my text about what happened.
That spoiled it earlier. He texts and says,
Oh.
how are you guys, what was it exactly? Are you guys feeling like Miranda's
Are you guys feeling like Miranda? ... Mind blown.
And I hadn't watched it yet,
I was
of
dying
course.
inside.
And
Too
I'm
soon?
like, oh gosh, let me guess. Miranda's head gets blown off somehow.
No, not at all. Not blown off, just blown up.
Like, hey, historical guy, question. When
Yes.
she did get shot in the head, the kind of guns back then, it wouldn't have been that clean, would it have? That sounds really gross for me to say, but I was watching that and I was like, they don't
Well-
have like stealth sniper guns. She
No,
wouldn't have had
so
to dodge.
He
they were.
wasn't that
He was close. He was in the room,
Far, yeah.
and the guns were historically inaccurate. However, I'm assuming the bullet hole in the front was actually where the bullet.
Exit?
No,
No,
it would have
came
been an entrance wound.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Because
Well,
it
he
would
was
have
like real close, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking because where the table was at, he was at this end of the table, she was at this end of the table, and I'm thinking Colonel Rhett was behind him or came in, but I feel
Yeah.
like at the same time the door was over here.
That's why I thought she was. I
So-
thought he was behind her.
Yeah, like it would have went through the back of her skull and out the side.
Yeah.
It depends on how far into the skull, I guess it would have gone. That close it could have. I don't know.
Anyways, it sucked. That was
It
terrible.
sucked.
I was so
Oh,
pissed with
I screamed when it happened.
Yeah, because they would have
And then
used
said a lot of
musket
bad
ball.
words.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a really good question, actually, for our pirate aficionados of
any,
guns.
Any ballistics experts
excuse
out
me?
there, let us know what
Is
you
an
think.
accurate
Crime
bullet
scene
mark on the right
investigators.
temporal lobe appropriate for the gunshot entrance and exit wounds? Mind blown on that aspect. Although that, I don't think to me was the best part of this week's episode.
No,
But it was still the most what in the freaking... I
Right.
was literally watching. I was like, you go, Miranda. You go. What? What? She's dead? Bullet in your head? There's like... I could start a rap right now.
Yeah,
Bullet in
and-
your head, what, she's dead.
And I mean, the whole season, we've had so much backstory with Miranda and Flint and like really grown to kind of love them and their relationship more. And I, for one, I think she was my favorite character. And I was really hoping like later we're going to see Miranda really like be even more powerful and like super lady in charge and stuff. And so I had big hopes for Miranda, and
I know, but just like you said, like she
Rug out of
fully
under.
set up Flint. Like if it wasn't for Miranda's character, we wouldn't understand Flint at all. So maybe, I mean, like I tried to understand. I was like, why would they kill her off like right now? Like right when
Right.
this whole like everything is coming to a head and they're talking to Peter Ash and they're kind of getting somewhere. But I think that without Miranda, we wouldn't have understood Flint, and so
Right.
maybe
And I think this then is the driving force for Flint to continue on, probably teaming up with Vane.
yeah.
So that's then the reasoning behind continuing for the treasure and continuing for those sort of things that lead to the stuff we're gonna get next season.
Right. It's like severe.
And I think it also opens up space for Eleanor to come back and kind of be the leading lady.
What's interesting you say that, because I had a question targeted at that. So I'm just going to interrupt you right now. I'm going to say it. So based on what you just said a few seconds ago, we've had all this build up and backstory about Miranda, and then they killed her off. We've also this season been built all about the women of Black Sails, and we've had a lot about Eleanor. Is she potentially going to get killed off next week?
You know what? At this point, I wouldn't care that much.
I wouldn't either, and I don't really see any. Okay, this sounds. Girl, I feel you though. Eleanor, her character.
She's hit a wall.
I'm starting to not like her character.
Yeah.
I used to like Eleanor because I used to be like, man, you're strong, woman power, you go, Eleanor. And I'm like, Eleanor, just shut up, just stop.
She's so impulsive, and I feel like she keeps. Even last episode, and then as we saw this week, she gets accused of being kind of like a shady character and a pirate, and she's like, I'm not a pirate. I'm not like that. Don't judge me by my actions. I'm an English woman.
Totally.
But you're like,
in typical English fashion, she betrayed somebody.
Yeah, you're like, you kind of are a pirate lady, though.
I know,
right?
And saying that, typical English fashion. So the more I was I thought about that a lot this week because there was a lot. You saw a lot of government, and you saw a lot of pirates, and pirates. I've completely realized. I mean, I knew this all along, but government was they paint enemies so well in government because they're so sneaky and they do everything in the shade of dark. Just like her dad's funeral was at nighttime, and I don't know. I felt like there was some symbolism there, and then. Pirates, if they're gonna go do something, it's gonna be in the middle of the day, and they don't care who sees it coming. It's what their prerogative is.
They're very clear, and they've always been. Pirate code has always been one of those things you actually have to respect because they have set of rules that they follow, and they have manifestos that they, when they talk. We saw a couple weeks ago with Rackham. They had these things and papers that they wanted him to sign based on what the crew expected of him as a captain, and vice versa. And these were documents that they took seriously and they followed. And it's interesting that. The people that are the pirates that are supposedly shady and dirty are the most truthful and upfront and honest, and the people that are in government are backstabbing and lying and twisting everything around.
Totally. So Lauren, you're down with Eleanor just being?
Yeah, I don't think she's gonna die. I don't think she's gonna die next episode. But when she did get captured at the end, I was like, good, finally.
You weren't mad about it.
Lock her up for a little while.
All right, let's slow down.
All right.
Clearly, we're all overexcited. Let's go back since we've already unearthed the Miranda thing. Let's talk about that section of the episode because we're there. I mean, sorry you just got 8 minutes of us ranting about it. How our is going on. So this whole week we see the episode where Flint and Miranda are at Peter Ash's house talking about the events, and basically Flint's upfront with everything. Hey, you want to have questions for me? What happened? Here you go. Here's my story basically, and how I became a pirate captain. Within several months, mind you. And we learned about that actually last week when Mr. Scott was talking to Billy Bones, that he's never seen anyone rise to captaincy faster than Flint. Because of his charisma and his charm and the way he had the ability to tell stories and captivate the men. We get a story from him as well about the name Flint and where it came from.
Very interesting.
Cool little backstory, which may be true, maybe isn't true, but you think about something coming out of the sea and then disappearing back to the sea, and the name could do the same. So is he ready to give it up? And all that was the questions that they were asking this week. And then also we're getting, the backstory of what happened with Peter, and how he got kind of sold out, or rather sold people out to get where he is.
Totally. Man, that clock. And Miranda, I swear they build the characters up to where you like them and they kill them. Right when you like them the most, they're like, actually, I'm gonna kill her. Yeah. She was looking at that clock.
Well done, writers.
I know, man, the writers are so good. But as she was looking at that clock, I'm like, something's gonna happen. Vane's gonna come in. I thought, I was predicting, Vane's just gonna rush. Something crazy's gonna happen. Had no clue she's gonna get shot in the head. But so she's looking at that clock, and the whole time, this is her dream, right? So she pushed Flint kind of towards this dream. And I thought that she would be the one backing him up, being like, it's okay, you can let go. This is actually, if you tell them that you are gay and you had a relationship with a man, your Captain Flint is dead, and you will now be James McGraw. And so, I thought it was so cool how she backed him up so hard and was like, actually, where'd you get that clock? And no, he shouldn't have to do this if you're not telling us the truth. It just showed how much she loved Flint. She loved Flint more than she loved her cause.
Right. And as I was watching that, you're wondering, okay, is what Ash is saying, is he just setting him up to get, slaughtered by doing something like that? Yeah. So, and kind of leaving that whole scene with Miranda calling him out and everything, it made me really wonder kind of still the dynamics for why Peter Ash, after what went down with Alfred Hamilton, like why he hates pirates so much. Still, what was that big shift?
Well, I think part of it probably becomes the fact that, I'm sure he developed a relationship with Lord Hamilton in the aspect of basically selling out his son Thomas to, get his station in life. And then because of that, now he has to adopt this, demeanor where he's serious about what his role basically of becoming a king of the New World. And now that he's done that, he's sort of become that. Same with Flint. Flint has created this person that he is supposed to be, and now he's sort of become that person. Whether Flint thinks he can leave it behind or not is to be seen, but he's still that person deep down inside somewhere that's him.
Totally.
So I feel like there's that weird parallel between their characters, which is interesting because, who's right and who's wrong and who's on the side of good and who's on the side of evil.
Totally. I mean, it was cool, though, that we saw Flint realize, because the whole time, I really thought Flint was, like, truly delusional. And then, seriously, and he is delusional in certain senses, but when he basically was like, look, there are two different sides of me, and, like, he knows it, and he's like, this is who I am, and this is what I know.
No,
exactly.
Yeah, I know. I got so sad for him when he's like, I haven't, ever since I became Captain Flint, I haven't liked him and, been ready to see him gone.
Do you know what bummed me out so bad about this scene too? Is that we finally realized for sure that his lover's dead, like they say.
Yeah, that was another thing. I know we were hoping somehow he'd come back, that he was dead, metaphorically speaking, but no,
he was like, I visited him in the hospital. And
dead.
Yeah, son of a gun.
Well, it's cool too to see Miranda kind of step up and take credit for the fact that she's the reason basically that Lord Hamilton was killed.
Oh yeah.
She told Flint about it and asked him to kill him, and I think it goes back to a question I asked last week about the relevance of Flint's sexuality, and I guess it was sort of not important the last few weeks, but it became more important this week because they were going to use it against him, and also it's sort of a driving force to everything that happened at that point.
Totally.
So, we'll see if they try to use it against him again.
Well, and if it wasn't for Peter Ash's betrayal, like this whole storyline wouldn't really have happened, right?
Right.
I mean, I thought that was so important because at first I was like, Peter Ash, he's probably just a good guy that got mixed up, and now I'm like, no, actually, like he is a villain, like rooted in his own misery.
Yeah.
That was such a bummer, and like we finally realized that, and it's like, oh man, Flint wouldn't have been in so much turmoil, and Miranda wouldn't have died, and all this wouldn't have happened if he just would have been who I thought he was, like a man with integrity.
Who we all thought he was.
Exactly.
He was just this, a friend of theirs.
Exactly.
I wonder as an actor how that was to watch Miranda, Louise Barnes get shot.
I know.
Because that's his wife in real life.
Yeah.
So,
oh my gosh. Yeah.
Ash's
I didn't
wife
even think
in
about
real
that until
life.
just now.
Like to be in this heated argument scene as a married couple and then see your wife get shot and like even as fake, like would be kind of hard, I think.
Derive some emotion from that. Maybe that's where he faked his emotion at the end. I didn't mean for it to happen like this. Psh.
Yeah,
Peter Ash.
Clearly
like,
not.
get that guy under control.
Right?
That was
Yeah.
another thing. I was like, how do you
Colonel
have
Red.
such a lack of control over your men where he storms in and shoots
Early
someone in the
prediction,
head?
100% dead next week.
I hope
100%
so.
Yeah.
dead.
Okay, did you guys notice they didn't really look that put together for a government? Like, he didn't have his really fancy wig on, and his clothes were kind of tattered, and, like, I was kind of wondering if that was something that was happening. Like, I felt like everybody in their government was kind of dirty and beat up, and it didn't look like they were very well taken care of. And
Clearly, you've never seen the American government, because this is where they are. Tattered and beat up.
holy smokes.
Pre-American government.
On to the next.
On to the next. On that note.
On that note.
But yeah, and it's cool because I feel like this big whole thing was relevant because now this sets up everything that's going to happen next week in the finale and leading into season 3.
Totally.
Because, obviously we know that Vane is going to come help.
Okay, so Blackbeard, your prediction, your Blackbeard prediction. Okay, I'm tying this in, I swear.
Go ahead.
Since Vane and Flint, like clearly there's a foreshadow for them. Thank gosh that Flint has finally realized Vane is the only team to be on.
Mm-hmm.
I love the line
you.
in the trailer for next week. And he said, if anyone's going to put your head on a pike, it should be me.
Yes. The writers are so good. They really are. But do you think that they'll be a match against Blackbeard? Like, do you think that it would take them to, I don't know, I'm thinking way ahead, but.
I don't know. I got excited this week thinking that Blackbeard was actually in the episode. And I actually saw in the preview, too, a weird character that they were talking to on the boat that could also be Blackbeard. I'm just like so dead set on
and
Blackbeard.
he could be Blackbeard, and he could be
and
Blackbeard,
she could be
and
Blackbeard,
she could.
and everyone could be Blackbeard. We'll see what happens with the Blackbeard thing. I'm still holding strong that it's going to happen. I feel like it's just relevant, like something they could do. It's just an easy.
Do you think next week it's going to happen?
I feel like that's the time to do it because it's going to be part of a cliffhanger leading into season 3 that's going to make me so mad that I have to wait a year for this damn show to come back, and I'm gonna be so torn and crying. And
The writers are so good, they'll do it to you.
I'm gonna be calling Sean in South Africa and just be all like, "Dude, I miss you, buddy. What's up?"
What happens next episode?
The two best predictions last week.
Oh yeah.
Megan and Sean returned to the episode as Abigail Ash and Richard Guthrie.
I know.
Good job, guys. Spot on.
Yeah,
my
Sean.
gosh.
He did say that we would see him again. and
Looking
we
fit as
sure
always.
Did.
That's
Right
right.
there on that table, getting sponged
All right.
down.
So speaking of Blackbeard,
You went there.
oh yeah,
Okay, sorry.
Sabungale was getting him. So that's the actress that's the servant.
Yeah.
And she was in the Slave episode a few weeks back. So she's a great actress as well. Anyway, so I'm going to move on to the next topic at hand. Since we're talking about our good friend Eleanor Guthrie, let's just go there. Because I was so dead set on the thought that when she and Frasier brought in those two people to handle the job, that was Blackbeard the pirate. Black, dark features, bald head. Like, his beard wasn't big enough for me, in my opinion, of Blackbeard. But
I mean, there's beard in his name.
There's
got
was-
to be some beard going on there, right?
well, clearly not. You obviously didn't see the NBC show that they put out about Blackbeard the pirate starring John Malkovich.
Okay, weirdo. I'm sorry, I didn't watch the NBC version of
I'm glad you
Blackbeard.
didn't. It was terrible and got canceled. This is the only pirate show that you should ever watch and need to watch.
Ever. Do you hear that,
Ever.
guys?
Yeah.
Listen, if you're
All of
listening
you
at home,
out there.
you should follow us on our iTunes and our SoundCloud and our YouTube and us on Twitter and watch Black Sails on Starz.
Exclusively.
Exclusively, this is the only pirate show that you will ever need. Although I will say I'm a little partial to the music from the Pirates of the Caribbean movies because I
that's
think
good.
Hans Zimmer is an amazing composer.
Hans Zimmer
Yeah.
is pretty right. I actually know who that is. That's great. There's one out of all the references he's made. Hans
Everything
Zimmer
I talk about, Hans Zimmer is the one you
bomb.
got.
Yep,
got
there
it.
we go.
I think they do a really good job though with Black Sails.
Oh, I
and the music.
agree. I'm just saying I like the music of
Oh, yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's better than Black Sails by any
Yeah,
means.
you
Don't
did.
quote me.
Don't you?
Don't misinterpret what I'm
Don't
saying.
you.
All right, so Miranda brings in some people this week after she is courted by all the people in town paying their respects on the death of Richard Guthrie.
Eleanor.
Yes. I said Miranda, didn't I?
You did.
I'm
It's okay.
still...
I wish she was
Keeping
back
us on
too.
track.
Don't worry about it. Keep her in the storyline. She's not there
She
anymore.
is forever in my heart.
We wish she was there.
I'm going to be mad that I don't get to see her
R.I.P.
cleavage next week. That's really I mean, busting out of her dress.
She did have that going on a lot.
Every
It
week.
was. And when you're
It did.
angry and
And it's just
breathing
like,
deeply.
Everywhere.
Okay, back to Eleanor
Anyways.
Guthrie. So, and we get that's kind of how the episode started off, is people
man.
coming to pay their respects, and Max comes in and says, I brought food from the girls, and Eleanor says, these people aren't here because they cared about me or my father. They're here to say that they're not enemies. Because basically, Charles Vance said you have to pick a side, and there's a war coming. Whose side are you going to be on? And so they're basically coward people, if you will.
Totally.
But
Okay, so when you thought the guy was Blackbeard and the guy was trying to kill Jack, and Anne comes in and saves him, how sick
Slice
was
him.
that?
So badass.
slices him up.
I was like,
It was awesome.
Their relationship. Not a lot of words were spoken, but there was like a mutual like. I
loved
still
it.
got you.
I loved
got
it.
you.
Yeah,
did too. It was
they, you know,
perfect.
they
and
have
she
that.
saved both Jack and Featherstone.
Yeah, it was
if
perfect.
Anne wouldn't have showed up, they would have both been dead.
Yeah,
Anne is such
exactly.
a freaking badass.
No, it was
She's so
perfect
rad.
timing. They have their moment to reconcile. You know, barely any words are
I
spoken,
thought you
but
were
they.
going to sail off on a ship, and you didn't from Port Royal.
Totally.
Yeah,
Now
like
you're
I
back.
understand how tough that decision would have been. You know, I
Oh,
loved
and let me
it. You
slit a
know,
guy's
It was
throat for you.
amazing.
yeah, and then like yeah.
I thought that was so
Perfect.
That
awesome.
was great.
So yeah, that happened this week because Anne Bonny returned after her little adventure, which we don't know anything about still.
Right.
That's really the thing, is what did she do? She went and did something for Max, but we don't know what. So maybe we'll find out what that is next week.
Did she leave before Max or after Max knew about the gold? Did she leave before or after? I can't remember.
Before.
Before
Right.
Max knew about the gold.
Yeah,
Got it.
because
And it's like they had
that
cell
was 2
phones.
weeks ago that she had the whole breakdown, or 3 weeks ago she had the breakdown. 2 weeks ago she left, and then she was gone, and then Silver told them about the gold, and then this whole last week they've been plotting to get the gold.
Totally.
And then so they knew that Eleanor was up to something as well this week, and she's basically making the decision to, like she did before, take the crew out, get a few people killed. So I was kind of hoping that she wouldn't have got captured, because she does get captured after she goes and talks to Underhill and all that jazz about trying to make this Nassau happen, and he's on board.
Stupid Dufresne.
Dude,
Dufresne
Dufresne
is
and
an a-hole.
Hornigold.
Hornigold too. I underestimated Hornigold. I thought he was just going to be a senior citizen lounging on the beach.
Senior citizen.
No,
he's still pissed that he lost his fort.
Well, I thought he would have just gone down without a fight, man. You are like 70 years old as a pirate. And then
I
Dufresne
said
comes
that
out of
was
nowhere
gonna
with this
happen.
stupid, I know you did, with his stupid little glasses, and he's just sitting there all
Stupid little
smug and
glasses.
Dufresne, and
Look
I'm not
crack.
into him. Oh, I don't like Dufresne.
But he's slimy like
He's like
that.
a
He's a
little
little
weasel.
Weasley
Yeah.
guy. Oh, hey.
Simmer down over there, ladies. Simmer down.
Same wavelength here.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, geez, your minds are becoming one. I don't know what to do.
Watch out.
Tractor beam. Yeah, and actually, I kind of expected them to be back, as I said a few weeks ago, if you recall, because I feel like they weren't going to go down without some sort of something. Like it just seemed so.
They couldn't just disappear.
Well, I wasn't sure if they let them back in the crew or if they killed them or what happened with the men that were obviously rejected by Billy and that whole issue a couple weeks ago. So it's clear that they were not let back in the crew. They were kicked off, and Hornigold basically scooped them all up and went after those pardons that Dufresne knew about, which is kind of smart, I guess. Like,
Yeah,
what else do you do?
smart.
You're not
They're
in the crew.
Weasley, he's government. Like, that's the first thing I thought in my head.
Yeah.
Okay,
But everyone is looking out for their own backs, and if they all got shaved from the cruise, so they're like, okay, well, what information do we have, and what can we do with it? So I don't really fault them too much for doing what they did.
Totally. But historically, I feel like every time I say historically, I have to look at Ryan and be like, historically.
Then you turn into Ryan Hooks.
I turn into Ryan Hooks when I talk about history. But Hornigold was pardoned and lived the rest of his life as a pirate hunter, right? So historically, that's what happened. But how cool was it that they threw the pardons in the sand? I thought that was like so symbolic. Like, sure, here are your pardons, but you gotta pick it out of the dirt to get it. Like, you dirty little scumbag. Take this stupid
You and all your
pardons.
symbolism. You like to get into that, don't you?
Sorry,
You have
I like it.
You have a BA in English, don't you?
Journalism.
Some worthless degree in symbolism and reading into hidden meanings that gets you no jobs in real life.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
Just took a turn.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, that escalated quickly.
Okay.
But yeah, I agree that's a very symbolic thing, and as well, historically he was pardoned. So that's cool that he's actually getting the pardons in the show, and they're showing that. And I've always felt that Hornigold has been very political and everything, and very like less about the pirate world and more about the status.
Totally.
Because he's always like, I just wants to camp out in his fort and
exactly.
hold the ships and just chill and hang out, have good times, probably smoke a bowl. He's an old stoner, I guess. I don't know. Did they have those in the 17th century?
I don't know.
Or 16th century?
Bahamas,
Probably.
maybe. If it was going to be somewhere, it'd be
The rum. Why is all the rum gone? Because Hornigold drank it all.
Don't do so rum.
He's sitting up in his fort getting a tan and drinking mojitos.
See, senior citizen. That's what I thought. I underestimated him. So upset.
Underestimated him totally. But that was actually a pretty good move. I'm not going to say I'm mad at them at all, and that's kind of their only play.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate for Eleanor. So what do you think is going to happen with Eleanor coming up then? Is she going to get sent to England? Is she going to escape? Are they going to save her?
I almost feel like she's not going to get saved next week.
I think so too.
Like, that's
why
going to
would
be
Flint?
part of the cliffhanger.
Totally. And why would, at this point,
cares
everybody
about her?
Flint, exactly,
Yeah.
everybody's Flint's loved has been killed by people like who he's tried to reconcile with. So he's tried to be part of the government, and he did it for Miranda, and now they killed her, and what does he have left? Nothing but
He's got
Flint.
his
He doesn't have
pirates.
James McGraw. I think he's going to start to love Captain Flint and understand, like, hey, I'm going to be a true pirate, and I have integrity, and now I know where to put it.
We
So,
thought we
sorry,
saw
Eleanor.
the creation of the Flint legend before.
Yeah, no.
Wait till next week in the following season. I think we'll see the real creation of the Flint
Right?
legacy that we read about in Treasure
Totally.
Island.
And there's really
Yeah.
no room for her. Like, I just don't know where she'd come back.
Yeah, and the only person who still cares about her is Flint. You know, she's crossed everyone else, and maybe even Max a little bit, but I don't see them. What are you
really
making
big. It's gone.
faces
I'm sorry.
about?
There was a
Anyway,
bug.
I
There
don't
was a bug.
see.
It wasn't you.
Okay, I don't see anyone else going to rescue her. Vane, heck no.
Well, you know,
But he could.
that's an
He
interesting
could-
question.
He could decide to be the bigger man.
Will he play the bigger man card? That is a thought that I had actually.
I hope he doesn't, but that's my boy. He's about to
I don't.
hold it
Yeah,
down
I
for the
feel
gentleman
like
out there.
it would be. I feel like we could see him doing that, but I kind of want her to like be locked up for a little while.
The episode,
Yes.
this one's for all you lovers out
Think
there.
a little bit.
Gonna go out and rescue the lady.
Okay, so Vane is my boy. Like, everything he does.
got you, Charles
I
Vane.
got you,
I
Charles
got you.
Vane. No matter what he does, it's like, okay, so even this whole, he took over the ship and like he captured John Silver and all this different stuff, but still at the back of his mind, it's not about revenge to him, it's about like what the best thing for a pirate is. And so he's like, hey, we have to save Flint. And so if Eleanor comes into play to where she's the best thing for pirates, maybe I can see her being saved if there's some purpose for her, but I just don't know.
Well,
Right now we
and
don't
I
see
don't think
purpose.
Vane holds
Yeah.
on to grudges too long. Is the thing. You know, he takes his revenge in whatever form he sees best fit, and then moves on to the next.
Totally.
And I think we've seen that growth of his character more than anyone else this season, in terms of how he's developed and his thought processes and what he does and why. I think it's very clear the decisions he makes and why, more than anyone else in the show. And that's, I think, part of the reason that people associate and like him so much, because it's like, oh yeah, he made that choice. That was a good choice. I agree with that. I could get behind him doing that. Whether, it's right or wrong, we still get behind his choices and why he does things.
Yeah, totally.
Killing Richard Guthrie was a terrible thing, but at the same time, oh yeah, you know what? I guess it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not mad at you for it because you did the right thing, I guess, in your mind. Yeah.
Betrayed him too many times.
Exactly. And he's so upfront that it's hard to be pissed at him. Like, if he was a sneaky, slimy little weirdo, like freaking Dufresne, if he was like Dufresne.
God, Dufresne, we hate you.
We hate you, Dufresne.
Janice Eastman, we want you back.
But he's smart, and he's upfront, and he has integrity, and he looks really good with the shirt on.
Oh, man.
So,
and the lion voice.
I was just going to say, do you think his voice at the end of the episode when he was giving that speech was exceptionally deep this week?
I feel like it gets lower and
deeper.
lower.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't get like Christian Bale in the Batman movies. Like, as the season progressed, his voice got lower and lower and lower, and it was like really...
I'm always, every episode I feel like where he... Or lately, watching, I'm like, good Lord, how is his voice like that? Is that what he sounds like in real life?
He does have a pretty deep voice.
And so it like takes me out of it a little bit because I'm so impressed and in awe of
he has
voice.
very unique characteristics, like his facial structure, and it's very different and unique, which like gives him an appeal, I think, that the other characters don't have.
Yeah.
He's a very attractive man.
He's a good character.
I will say
everybody. We've all got crushes on him.
All of
I
us.
guess.
Everybody. Oh, man.
When he came in and I interviewed them, I actually asked, I had Jessica Parker Kennedy, who's Max, and also him in an interview, and I actually asked Zach about being naked on set instead of Jessica Parker. And
You have a crush on him too.
She got like weird about it because she's like, oh, everyone usually asks me that question. I was like, yeah, I know, nobody cares about you naked. We want to see Charles Vane naked.
Well, because she was naked like in every single
She was naked
episode.
every episode.
No, she hasn't been naked in a while. I'm kind of missing
She
her.
actually hasn't been naked in a while.
No, there's been
But
a lot.
because
No one really has.
I know there hasn't been a lot.
We haven't had much
Weird.
sex
There's
lately.
like a storyline now. No more sex.
Yeah.
No more sex. All right, so
I was going to
No.
say with the Vane taking over the ship and stuff, I did love that scene, just how they shot it with when Billy's up on
the
top
rigging.
and he looks down and sees them just like envelop
That was
over
so
the
sick.
edges of
Well, I'm
the
glad
ship.
you said that because that's what we're
that
going to
was
talk
so
about
cool.
next.
Oh, good.
We're going right into that, which this is the other death that I do not want to be overshadowed by anything else that happened in this week's episode, because Randall is gone.
I know.
And all I can
on.
think about every time I think about Randall,
Don't do it.
don't do what?
Scream.
That's what I'm going to say if he tries to run.
Oh, we are out of control.
And Randall's
tonight.
cat. I loved Randall's cat in season 1 as well.
No.
I just...
I know, it was
that
really
was actually
sad.
a very sad and like kind of overshadowed moment
Totally.
that I'm gonna miss Randall,
Well,
and
And I think Silver will too. I feel like Silver's like,
had
if
a-
there's any gossip, you need to. Oh, and you're,
he and Randall
you're
were
like-
thick as thieves. Those two
Yeah,
were
I
like
know.
Randall was in a spot that he could get information because people thought he was dumb and wasn't listening, and he heard everything. Gave it to Silver because he liked Silver. We like him, and I feel like that's a big loss to Silver end of the show.
Totally. I think Silver has like I think that was a huge loss for sure, but now I think there's just another level of Silver. Like he has courage where he didn't have courage before. Like old Silver would have been like, okay, we're going to swim and we're just going to take our chances because I can't think of another plan. This Silver's like, well, you know, we've gotten this far. Let's see what we can do.
Yeah, he's gonna have to figure out how
they figure
to-
out the bodies are dead, and they go out and cut the forestay line, which basically attaches the mast to the front of the boat, which supports all the weight and the swinging of the mast, which they can't sail without it, essentially, without breaking the mast. And if they break the mast, then they're floating.
That would suck.
That would suck. But and I like that part though, because Billy was up there, fixing the rope from previous accidents, and all the rigging crew were like, "It's a bad omen. We can't go up there until it's fixed." And he's like, "Well, who's gonna fix it?" And they're all just like looking at him. So Billy goes up there and fixes it, and that was an awesome shot.
Yeah,
of all
really
the
cool
men
scene
just-
when they just ride over those rails.
they envelop, as you say.
Enveloped
Good
the
word.
ship. Thanks. I
was a
went
good-
to college.
Yeah. Do you have a crappy degree like the rest of us? Worthless.
Communications.
Okay,
Graphic
perfect.
design?
Done.
Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, and then we do see a few other people get killed on the ship, and mostly the men are captive, which is cool because now they can like merge crews and have this like massive. I wonder how many men though that Vane had, because Flint said there was like 70 people on the ship.
Yeah, I remember that actually.
Where he's like, there's like 70 men out there waiting to follow my cause and to get on this rally and do all that. So unless apparently Vane's men are the most badass men in all of the world.
Yeah, and they just had to kill enough. You know, they didn't have to take everyone out. They just had to take out enough to kind of say, hey, we're here and we're going to take over, so, you know, maybe don't fight us or more of you are going to die.
Well, and we also got some other really cool information this week from Vane. And, you know, I've always talked about how much I like Billy Bones, and every week that Billy Bones is gone, I say Billy Bones is gone, but he's not, and Billy Bones is back, and then Billy Bones is back, and I'm excited about that. But we learned that since episode 1 of season 1, Vane has been involved in Bones' growth, if you will, because the whole Singleton affair, which happened in episode 1 of season 1 when Flint killed him and there was this whole conspiracy against the captaincy, was actually a play by Jack Rackham and Captain Vane to get men from Flint's crew to defect, especially Billy, because they wanted to recruit them to their crew. And they've heard all these things about Billy, and, you know, Billy's loyal to a fault, and Billy is a true pirate. He's not scared, and he's not doing it for money. He's doing it for a life. You know, and we learned that last week when they told the story about his parents and, you know, how he was captive and he killed the man who held him captive and now became a pirate because he was ashamed. And, you know, that was a very interesting thought, and it makes us trust Billy.
Right.
And I feel like every time Billy talks, we can trust what he says and we can get behind Billy. Do you see anything happening down the road where Billy does something that is unlike Billy, where he backstabs somebody? That's my thought.
Ooh, maybe, especially because they called it out in this episode. You know, loyal to a fault. You know, I feel like then we could definitely see that not being true later.
Agreed.
But
Jamie S. Elias?
I don't know. I hope Billy stays with Billy. Yeah, I don't know. I have gotten, this sounds ridiculous, but I've gotten so attached to who the characters are that, like, if they change in my mind, like, I know who Eleanor is, I know what she's gonna do, you know what I mean? And, like, I know who Billy is, and I hope I know what he's gonna do. So I hope he stays the Billy that we've come to love.
Yes, and respect and appreciate and all that.
I hoped Miranda would be
Not
here
die.
next week.
I know.
Well, Miranda, her character will not change at all. She is going to be the Miranda that we know and love.
And she went down like a freaking BA. She went down screaming at the mayor, or I'm sorry, governor. Not mayor.
That she wanted to hang him herself and pull the lever.
Like a boss.
Are you good now?
I'm done. Yeah, I'm still upset about it,
Get that out
but
of
we
there?
can move on.
All right, we'll move on then as well. I'm not done talking about Billy Bones, though, because Billy Bones is Billy Bones.
He is. I'm waiting for something big to happen with him, because we've seen him, like, be not in the shadows, because Billy Bones has always been, like, a forefront character. Like, we always know who Billy Bones is.
But he hasn't at the same time.
Exactly. He's been, like, that weird balance of, like, we know he's very prevalent and he means a lot to the show and to the way it's written, but he hasn't done anything that's been, like, exceptionally crazy.
Right.
He hasn't made it. I mean, he has, but he hasn't. It's like this
feel
whole...
like we could potentially be getting set up for that with the Scarborough coming back
that was
into
exactly
play.
what I was about to say.
He knows stuff, you know, and he
Captain
knows
Hume and the Scarborough and all that. He was on the ship.
But that could set up for some really great Billy moments.
Next week, I'm thinking that's going to go down.
He's already messed with Dufresne once. Wouldn't be pissed to see him do it again.
Take Dufresne out.
Who plays Dufresne? We need to
Roland
interview.
Reed.
Get out here, Roland Reed.
Roland
we have
Reed
some
plays
questions for
Dufresne.
you.
So
sorry.
Yeah, Janice, who played the first Dufresne, I talk to him on Twitter frequently, and
Roland
Roland
Reed.
Reed is the new one. So you can tweet at him and
tweet Roland Reed.
Roland Reed, we do not hate you.
We don't.
We hate
You're
Dufresne.
doing an excellent job of playing Dufresne.
Exactly. You make the way you play Dufresne is so amazing that we hate you. So there's that. Not you,
Absolutely.
but Dufresne.
So with back to Billy, because we still stay on task, stay focused.
Sorry.
Children, bring it back. Flashy lights over here. Okay, so one thing that we did also learn with Billy Bones this week is it's not even, he doesn't care about Flint. He's not necessarily on anyone's team or loyal to anyone. He right now cares about the plan that Flint can execute, because he tells Vane about all the military people that are waiting on, you know, Harbor Island and the Marines and all the ships that are waiting basically to attack Nassau and take out their way of life. And it doesn't matter who's who or who's doing what or what the plot is, because they're not going to separate the two.
Right. Yeah, they
Vane
don't care.
versus Flint versus Billy
pirate.
versus Silver versus anyone else. They don't care. They're pirates and they're all going to be killed.
Do you think that maybe then Billy and Eleanor have something in common still? I was like looking for somebody that Eleanor had something in common with, and maybe Billy's the only person left.
Well, what's your commonality then?
so?
Explain, elaborate on this commonality.
That was, you guys looked at me like the blankest stares I've ever seen in my life.
I'm trying to build a bridge in my brain, and it's not happening.
I'm just looking for some kind of help for Eleanor here. But Billy still has that. He's seen everything that's happened, and so he's kind of wanting there to be peace, right? And Eleanor, ultimately wants there to be peace. And Flint used to want there to be peace, but now he doesn't want it anymore. And Billy's like the only one kind of left that still...
Maybe they're all gonna bond together for the sake of all pirates, all super pirate
and I think that's
squad.
For the lifestyle of Nassau.
Exactly, for Nassau. I think like you just said, Billy is for Nassau. I think Eleanor is for Nassau. She's just a little... Her storyline is different, but maybe they're the only people left. Like, she's the only one, or he's the only one that can... I don't know.
They can bring it back around and tie her back in.
I'm trying to figure out how she can get tied back in without dying, but I just am I'm at a loss.
Well, they
Eleanor.
still do need her if they're to make
For
Nassau
what?
succeed, because she is the link to commerce. She
Yeah,
is
she controls
the tying
everything.
factor that allows functional trade on the island in and out of the properties. And without her and her connections that she's already established, they don't really have those. I mean, they can
Right.
reestablish them, but at what cost in the short term? And will that even happen? Will the people buy into that for the short term? Or and we saw in the preview too for next week. There's Max is talking about how sketchy it is getting on Nassau, and there was basically a body hanging that's a stuffed thing that says "Good Riddance." Then it's supposed to be Eleanor Guthrie, I'm assuming. So they're happy that she's gone.
That's yeah. I don't see her coming back.
So I mean, it's maybe what she stood for and what the people think she stands for, versus what's going to happen and who's going to take what side. There's so much going to happen next week in 1 hour, and after that, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life.
I know.
I'm so stressed right now.
I am too.
I can't.
So much anticipation.
I can't even handle it.
I mean, as long as Vane still kicks it, I'm happy girl.
As long as Vane's still kicking it. As long as we
long
don't lose him.
as
Vane and Billy,
Vane and
they're
Billy,
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we didn't even really talk about Silver very much this week, because we just saw him a little bit where he had this plan. Basically, he's talking about, are they going to find out about the plan and the gold? And now that we know that Rackham is actually leaving to get the gold, they were leaving that night, so that's going to come back into play. I wonder how much it's going to affect then the remaining pirates on the ship once the gold is captured. Or are they going to capture the gold at the end of next episode?
Totally. I think there's going to be a huge shift in storyline. Like, I think it's going to shift away from trying to bond with government, and it's just going to shift towards more of...
More pirates and more men.
I don't think
Eleanor,
they're
I just
going to
don't
pursue that
see-
anymore. I feel like Eleanor might try and talk her way out of it and onto their side in some way, just because she has been, trying to present herself as a non-pirate person. So maybe she tries to talk her way into being on the government side, but...
Do we see then Max shifting into the Eleanor role?
I can see that, for sure. Max, I feel like Max has, like, a good following. Like, people, even though she's shady, she's like the John Silver of women. She's smart. She's very smart. But I feel like people... She's still pretty upfront. You know what I mean? I feel like people could respect
Could get behind her?
Yeah, I feel like that could happen.
Do people like her? Most of the whores like her?
For the most part. I think for the most part.
For the most part, the whores... Except the one that sold her out and went and told some information.
Right.
Yeah.
Who also happened to be...
People,
That's Billy's...
Wife.
Tom Hopper's wife in real life as well. So all this cross-casting...
I know. That must be so much fun for them.
Like just hanging
on
out
set,
in South Africa and filming a pirate show and playing all day.
Totally.
So actually, I told Megan this last week, and I don't think I've ever even talked about it on air before. Before this show started, I submitted myself to be on it.
I didn't know that.
Yes, it was in June of 2013. I contacted several casting directors.
Your scene?
So here's what happened though: is I wanted to be a background extra because I have a pretty good background in sword fighting, and I've played a lot of theatrical roles where I sword fought and have done pirates and that kind of stuff. And I wanted to be a background extra. And they told me that they were only casting South African locals, and I couldn't be in the series. But they would let me know if season 2 moved to LA or anywhere in the United States where they could use me.
Have they hit you
Clearly, they have not hit me up because I'm still here doing the show. But I told Megan that she could submit me if she wanted to, so she's gonna talk to casting, and maybe next season I'll be on season 3.
You'll be in the back sword fighting.
I honestly would have paid to fly to South Africa just to be on the background sword fighting.
I think that'd be rad.
That could have been cool.
Could've been a
I'm so
cool
curious
experience.
now. I feel like we need a demonstration at some point.
Oh yes.
I actually posted a picture on Twitter before the season started. I played Billy Bones in a version of Treasure Island on stage.
Ryan Hooks 92.
Of course
Check that out.
You can check.
Of
There's the picture of
course.
me sword fighting in front of a big set.
This is awesome.
So-
Dang. The things we learn on this show.
I know. The more
Fun
you know.
facts.
All right,
I
so
don't have any.
we're running out of time because we're running out of time, and that's just what it is. What else do we need to talk about that happened this week? Because I feel like a lot happened, and I feel like we skipped a lot, and I feel like I'm just overwhelmed with everything that happened.
No. Honestly, I feel like we covered.
I think we got it. I think we're good.
Oh, one thing. I think that Abigail. I know this is kind of a prediction, but did you guys hear her scream so loud at the very end of Miranda getting shot? I was like, Abigail, yes, something's gonna happen next episode with Abigail.
Because she saw, she saw it all go down.
She saw everything.
Go down, so she knows what happened and all that.
She's gonna lose her faith in government and say
Go
what
after
up
Billy
to
Bones?
pirate life. Oh my gosh, please date Billy Bones.
Is she Mary Reed? Are they hooking up?
I don't know.
I'm just putting that out there as a potential.
Anyways.
I feel like we're good. All right, so we need to talk about predictions then real quick before we go.
Predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Jamie S. Elias.
Okay.
I know pressure's on you first.
So, like we said, historically, Hornigold was pardoned and lived the rest of his life as a pirate hunter, right?
Clearly.
Well, historically, Vane refused to be pardoned and went down fighting.
Correct.
Well, Hornigold has his pardon and Vane has his worship. So I'm kind of I'm getting ready for like a pretty big fight next.
Showdown?
Something's gonna go down.
Something epic.
Something epic. They just set us up for a hell of a season finale. So I'll just give you one. We're not running out of time.
I mean, I think either Dufresne or Hornigold is gonna get killed next week,
plus
or both.
Plus Colonel Rhett.
Yeah,
Yes.
Rhett for sure.
Please let him die.
Given. I don't think Eleanor's going to get rescued. I think she's going to stay captured in some capacity. And yeah, I mean, as I think we all know, we're gearing up for a big showdown.
I think we'll see the acquisition of the gold as well.
Oh yeah.
I think
kinda forgot about the
that they're
gold.
going to make it to the gold.
Oh yeah.
So.
Definitely. I don't think it's all going to get like scooped up and put on the ship.
No,
but
you'll see
they'll
the
get
island.
there. Yeah.
Anything else?
I don't know. I mean, I envision like a big band of jelly pirates teaming up together and going to fight
hell
the
of a lot of
government.
explosions happening in Charlestown.
Something's
Yeah.
gonna go down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and we saw in the
Michael
preview
Bay.
because exactly. This is Michael Bay. We've been waiting for Michael Bay to have a reason for being involved in this
Right.
project for.
And here
17
it is.
Here it is.
He found
Episode
it.
18.
Things are gonna get blown up.
Episode 6, Episode 8, and now Episode 18 are all Michael Bay. That's it. That's what we're getting.
Michael Bay life.
Michael Bay life. #, all day long. Party like a pirate.
I kind of hope Peter Ash dies too. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
I think I've killed like 8 characters this episode. Of
Let's just start
AfterBuzz.
next season with a whole new cast of characters because we don't need any of them.
Oh, I'm just kidding.
But I feel like they're getting to that point where no one is safe on the show, which is
No.
cool.
It is cool.
At the same time, it's terrible because I hate when that happens. Because you're like, oh my, I'm stressed every single week watching it,
Because
Totally.
anyone
and
you
anyone
love
can go.
could be gone.
When you look like Miranda, I'm sorry, Lauren.
I know, I like Miranda
Whatever.
too. It's sad, but at the same time, it's a driving force now because I think this is going to be what pushes Flint off the edge. He's going to team up with Vane, and it's going to get real fast on Charlestown. And I think I all I can say for next week for my prediction is we are gearing up for an amazing finale for episode 10 of season 2, and we will be back next week to talk about season 10 episode 2, and I promise I will not rant and rave as much as I did. Nope, I lied. I'm gonna rant and rave as much as I did this week because it's getting crazy. But before we go, Jamie S. Elias, why don't you tell the people where they can find out more about you on the Twitter?
Well, I think
and
you did that for
Instagram?
me. It's Jamie S. Elias. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, whatever tickles your fancy.
And Lauren Salaun, where they can find you?
Hey guys, you can find me at Lauren Salaun, LaurenSalaun, everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, YouTube.
The
all of them.
internet.
The internet.
The interweb,
On
if
the
you will.
internet.
And guys, don't forget to follow AfterBuzz TV's iTunes, our SoundCloud, our YouTube channels. Leave us comments. Let us know what you think about our show. Give us 5 stars on iTunes. That's always important.
Yay.
And also find me at RyanHooks92 on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat. As always, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back next week for the season finale of Black Sails, episode 10. Until then, keep tweeting us and catch you all later.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.